The three UCLA basketball players who were facing up to a decade in a Chinese prison after shoplifting have actually now been released. And it's apparently, at least in part, in thanks to Donald Trump, who wants a very particular type of credit for this development. He tweeted this.
Do you think the three UCLA players will say thank you, President Trump? They were headed for 10 years in jail, exclamation point.
There. So, let's say he did it. It seems like he did it. It's within his power to do it. It's the sort of thing you'd expect a president to do. He could say, was glad to be able to help out the players. But in this, he's saying, you think I'll get a thank you?
Yeah, the crazy thing is, I know that we're very critical of Trump, but I don't think that we're critical needlessly. Like, we're critical when it matters. So when he actually did intervene, and then it was reported yesterday that the players would be released and sent back home to the U.S., I thought to myself, okay, good. Trump did something.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Now let's see if he can ruin it.
And then he ruins it.
Yes.
He ruins it. Just let it go. He's such a thin-skinned, egotistical maniac. Just let it go.
So he tweeted that. So we want to show what the students actually said in their press conference. And then we'll break down why he might have predicted that he might not get a thank you. So let's jump to video 2 here. You're going to see the press conference of some of the students now saying what had happened in their ordeal.
To President Trump and the United States government, thank you for taking the time to intervene on our behalf. We really appreciate you helping us out.
I'd also like to thank President Trump and the United States government for the help that they provided as well.
Thank you to the Pac-12 and the whole UCLA community that helped us the whole way. And thank you to the United States government and President Trump for your efforts to bring us home.
Thank you, Jimmy.
So you asked for it, you get it. Now, what is everyone happy now? Does that change anything? Does it make you feel better? Oh, my president got his props from written statements from college kids who went over and they did admit, and by the way, in that press conference that they did shoplift.
Yeah.
It was, and then, because that was, I think, some of the questions was whether or not they were targeted and wrongfully accused and all that stuff. So they did. They all admitted that they took part in it. And so, oh my God, he got his apology, and I tweeted this earlier. Oh, so when is President Trump we're waiting. I'm demanding you're welcome to these thankful students who bowed their heads and made sure they said, oh yeah, I'm sorry, thank you, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Like, is this useful? Does this do anything for you except for humiliate these three guys?
So why, in the first place, rather than simply waiting to see what they said, why did he come out and say, I'm probably not going to get a thank you? Why is that?
I know why.
We know. Okay, well, why? Why, JR? Why?
Because.
Go ahead.
Well, first off, he wants to be put on notice that he's the shit. When am I going to get some attention and some kind of respect? Somebody's got to talk about things I've done. This is a win for me.
I was about to give you some respect in regard to this story until you went off and acted like a freaking child on Twitter.
Yeah.
Just, it's amazing. He's like completely unaware of how to behave like an adult. Seriously, again, for the billionth time, I was super supportive of how this all went down until he tweeted that.
Yeah, and so look, we got to acknowledge that he rallied his supporters to his side just a couple of months ago with the NFL issue, trying to turn the American public against people who are trying to draw just a little bit of notice to some of their extremely long-standing racial grievances against the justice system in the U.S., against police and those sorts of things. And they loved that. They ate that up, the Trump fans. And so now you have some more athletes. I noticed they weren't all white, and for some reason he automatically assumes that they're not going to credit him with helping them out. And I didn't pull the tweets or anything like that, but you had given me tweets when Fox reported on this. There were tweets about these damn thugs, they're entitled, all that stuff. And so this is again an attempt to use racial grievances to try to rally support for him. And of course the kids did. They did credit him. You could have simply waited a few minutes.
No.
Maybe it was hard for them to say something because they were in a Chinese prison and then on an international flight.
They just got back last
and then
right.
as soon as they get back, they do it.
Yeah, he didn't even really give them an opportunity to, say thank you. Considering that it was just announced yesterday that they would be released. And then you're right, that international flight, you don't even have Wi-Fi on a lot of those flights.
Exactly. Or you got to pay extra.
If they don't, who gives a damn?
Yeah,
they had to get home.
That's the most
first.
important point. Homeboy hasn't had any legislative wins. He hasn't succeeded in anything other than naming a Supreme Court justice, right? And he's this is a story we're going to do in hour 2, but he's going to foreign countries begging them to buy our weapons so he can show the world that he's doing something.
Yeah.
As if American voters are like, you know, I'd really feel better about my life if we were selling more of our weapons to foreign countries.
Exactly.
But yeah, like he's desperately trying to show that he's winning at something.
Yeah.
And instead of actually focusing on policy-driven, intentions, he's focusing on bullying college basketball players into giving him credit for what he did.
Yeah.
It's so pathetic.
Look, as we transition to some good news, I have no idea what the politics of those particular students are. They play a sport, and so you'll be shocked to find out I don't know who they are.
Probably have no politics.
But probably not at all.
College
but
guys.
I was thinking for myself, and so I turn this to you. How long would you be willing to be in a Chinese prison rather than be sprung by Donald Trump and you have to thank him?
I'd
do a week.
That's a great
I have a
I do
story.
a week, I think.
Young Turks membership creates independent media.
Believe me.
No ads.
Believe me.
All the shows.
Believe me.
On demand.
Believe me.
Support independent media.
Believe me.
It's awesome. Tremendous. You'll love it.
Believe me.
And by the end, you'll be thinking,
you know, I'm like a smart person.
tytnetwork.com/join.